Hello, listeners, and welcome back to our True Crime Horror channel, where we unravel the darkest corners of the human mind. I'm Dr. Alexander Duval, a criminal psychologist with over 20 years of experience dissecting the psyches of serial killers. Today, I'm taking you deep into a chilling tale from the winter of 1989 in the quiet town of Namur, Belgium, a story based on a real case that will haunt you long after you hear it. This is a tragedy of Élodie Bisset. Character names have been changed. A 12-year-old girl with an innocent smile, whose life was stolen by two monsters disguised as humans. Victor Moreau and Sylvie Laurent. You met this couple in our previous episode, but let me remind you of the darkness that binds them. Victor Moreau, a forest ranger with an unremarkable appearance, harbors a twisted shadow within. From a young age, Victor was obsessed with the notion of purity, a treasure he believed he had to possess at all costs. They say that one stormy night, he saw a ghostly figure in a dream, guiding him down a path of no return. After serving time for heinous crimes, he was released in 1987, not to redeem himself, but to hunt. In prison, Victor wasn't alone. He placed an ad in a Catholic magazine. Lou Pellerin, seeking a pen pal. Enter Sylvie Laurent, a woman with cold eyes hidden behind a gentle smile. Over 10 months, they exchanged more than 200 letters, not love letters, but promises of darkness. Sylvie knew of Victor's past, the atrocities he committed against young girls. Yet instead of recoiling, she was drawn in. They forged a sick pact. Sylvie would find pure prey, and Victor would turn them into his trophies. Those letters were like cursed artifacts, each word a whisper from a grave, luring them both into a demonic path. Now let's step into that fateful day when Élodie Bisset crossed paths with these shadows. Namur, Belgium, December 1989. Christmas is approaching, and the streets are adorned with twinkling lights. Children play in the snow, and the air is filled with warmth. In Saint-Servais, a peaceful neighborhood, 12-year-old Élodie Bisset lives a carefree life. She has long brown hair, bright eyes, and a passion for music. Every Wednesday afternoon, Élodie pedaled her bike to piano lessons, carrying a small backpack and her childhood dreams. Her mother, Marianne, always reminds her, "Élodie, be home before dark." Élodie nods, flashing a smile that could melt anyone's heart. But on December 20th, the air is colder than usual. Snow falls heavily, blanketing the quiet streets. Élodie, dressed in a red coat, rides her bike home from piano class, perhaps humming a Christmas carol. Unbeknownst to her, two predators are watching from the shadows. Victor Moreau and Sylvie Laurent are in Namur, hunting their next victim. From a psychological perspective, this duo is a rare and terrifying phenomenon. Victor is a textbook psychopath, lacking empathy, driven by control. In his brain, dopamine surges only when he dominates, destroys, and possesses. His obsession with purity isn't love, it's a paraphilia, a sexual deviance where he seeks absolute power to compensate for childhood traumas. He once told Sylvie he was neglected and abused as a child, and that ghostly figure in his dream might be his mind's way of justifying his crimes. Sylvie, on the other hand, is more complex. She exhibits borderline personality disorder, marked by a fear of abandonment and a desperate need to be needed. In her letters to Victor, she wrote, "I'll do anything to please you." This wasn't love, it was a psychological contract, where Sylvie found purpose by enabling a monster. Around 5 p.m., as daylight fades, a white van pulls up near Élodie. Sylvie Laurent steps out, cradling her 18-month-old son, Pierre. With a warm smile, she says, "Sweetie, I need help. My son is sick. Do you know where I can find a doctor?" Her voice trembles, but it's a flawless act. In criminal psychology, we call this the angel effect, using a child or a woman to disarm suspicion. Élodie, kind-hearted and trusting, stops her bike and agrees to get into the van to show the way. The van drives off, leaving the glow of streetlights behind, heading toward the desolate Ardennes near the French-Belgian border. Inside, the atmosphere grows heavy. Victor behind the wheel is silent, but his eyes gleam in the rearview mirror, a sign of adrenaline and dopamine flooding his system, like a predator about to strike. Sylvie keeps Élodie calm, chatting about school and piano, but Élodie senses something wrong. "Where's the doctor?" she asks, her voice trembling. Sylvie smiles, but says nothing. The van stops in a snow-covered forest, where the wind howls like a mournful cry. Victor drags Élodie out, pulling her deep into the darkness. The snow crunches underfoot, and Élodie panics. She screams, fights back, scratching at Victor. In that moment, her fight or flight instinct kicks in, a primal survival response. But Victor, fueled by rage and arousal, has other plans. He intends to assault her, part of his twisted ritual to claim purity. But Élodie's fierce resistance stops him from succeeding. Enraged by her defiance, Victor pulls out a rope, his signature tool, a symbol of his control. He wraps it around Élodie's neck, tightening it as she struggles. A 12-year-old girl in a red coat, fighting for her life in the snow, her eyes wide with terror, her breath suffocating. Within minutes, it's over. Her body lies still, blood from her scratches mingling with the snow. Sylvie watches unmoved. In her mind, this is part of their pact. They load Élodie's body into the van and drive to Château de Sauteau, an eerie old castle in Donchery, France, Victor's hunting lodge. Under the cold moonlight, he digs a shallow grave, burying Élodie in the frozen earth. Sylvie cleans the van, tucks Pierre into bed, and life goes on as if nothing happened. This is what psychologists call normalization. Sylvie convinces herself this is necessary to sustain her bond with Victor. Élodie's disappearance rocks Namur. Posters of her in her red coat plaster the town. Élodie Bisset, 12, missing since December 20th, 1989. The image of a young girl with her bright eyes and innocent smile becomes a haunting fixture on every street corner, lamppost, and shop window. The small Belgian town, known for its historic citadel and peaceful riverside charm, is suddenly gripped by fear and uncertainty. Parents clutch their children's hands tighter. Playgrounds empty earlier than usual, and whispers of "what if it happens again?" echo through cafes and markets. Her mother, Marianne, is plunged into despair. A single parent who had raised Élodie with unwavering love after her husband's early death, Marianne transforms her grief into relentless action. She organizes search campaigns, rallying volunteers to comb through forests, rivers, and abandoned buildings around Namur. Day after day, she leads groups armed with flashlights and maps, calling out her daughter's name until her voice grows hoarse. Marianne appears on national TV broadcasts, her face etched with exhaustion and pleading eyes, begging for any clue. "Élodie, if you're out there, know that Mommy is looking for you," she says in one tearful interview, her hands trembling as she holds up a photo. She distributes flyers door to door, sets up a hotline for tips, and even hires private investigators with her savings. The police hit dead ends. Initial leads, like a suspicious man spotted near the Christmas market where Élodie was last seen, fizzle out. Witnesses recall seeing her talking to a woman with child, but descriptions are vague. Investigators suspect a random abduction, perhaps linked to child trafficking networks rumored to operate across European borders, but there's no trace. No ransom note, no sightings, no evidence. The case grows cold, filed away as another tragic mystery in a world full of them. Victor and Sylvie, like ghosts, continue their normal lives, hunting, killing, hiding, posing as an ordinary couple in the Ardennes region. They blend into rural anonymity. Victor, a forest ranger with a disarming smile and knowledge of hidden trails, uses his job to scout secluded spots. Sylvie, outwardly a devoted mother to their young son, aids in the lures, her calm demeanor masking a chilling complicity. They move between France and Belgium, evading suspicion by keeping to themselves, all while their dark secrets pile up in shallow graves. For 15 long years, Marianne never gives up. She becomes a symbol of resilience, but also of unending pain. Anniversaries mark her calendar like scars. Every December 20th, she holds vigils in Namur Central Square, surrounded by candles and supporters. Media outlets dub her the Unbreakable Mother, featuring her in documentaries and articles that keep Élodie's face in the public eye. Marianne joins advocacy groups for missing children, lobbying for better alert systems and cross-border investigations. Yet, beneath the public strength, her private life crumbles. Sleepless nights haunted by nightmares. A home frozen in time with Élodie's room untouched, her favorite toys still on the bed. Every Christmas, she places a small tree adorned with a red ribbon in the window, a beacon of hope that Élodie might somehow return. Friends recall her saying, "I feel her presence, she's out there waiting for me." But as years turn to decades, hope fades into a quiet, aching acceptance for many, except Marianne, who clings to it like a lifeline. The atmosphere in Belgium during those years is one of collective unease and heightened vigilance. Namur, once a quaint tourist spot, feels shadowed by the tragedy. National headlines amplify the fear, with parents across the country implementing stricter curfews and schools hosting safety workshops. The case sparks debates in Parliament about child protection laws, leading to the establishment of better missing persons protocols. In broader Belgium, it contributes to a wave of paranoia about stranger danger, especially around holidays when families gather. Newspapers run series on unsolved abductions, and TV specials warn of predators among us. Communities organize awareness marches, but there's an undercurrent of helplessness. How do you protect against the invisible? As one local resident later reflected in a 2004 interview, Namur lost its innocence that winter. We all looked over our shoulders, wondering who could be next. In 2003, the nightmare unravels when Victor attempts to abduct a 13-year-old girl in a small Belgian town. The brave teen fights back, scratching his face and screaming for help until passers-by intervene. She escapes and alerts the police, providing a detailed description that matches reports from other unsolved cases. Authorities raid the couple's home, uncovering diaries, maps, and trophies from their victims. Locks of hair, jewelry, even Polaroid photos hidden in a secret compartment. Victor and Sylvie are arrested. Initially, Sylvie remains silent, her face a mask of indifference, what psychologists later describe as a psychological shield built from years of denial and manipulation. But under intense interrogation, she cracks. In a chilling confession, she admits Victor killed Élodie, detailing how they buried her at their remote property, Château de Sautou, in the French Ardennes. Her words are cold, detached, as if recounting a mundane event. Police from Belgium and France collaborate in a massive operation. In July 2004, excavators dig at Château de Sautou, a dilapidated estate shrouded in overgrown woods. The site yields horror after horror, multiple bodies, including Élodie's small skeleton, wrapped in plastic and buried shallowly. DNA tests, conducted with samples from Marianne, confirm the heartbreaking truth. Lead investigator Jean-Luc Ploy, a veteran Belgian detective who had worked the case since 1989, speaks at a press conference. This discovery brings closure, but it also exposes the depths of human depravity. For 15 years, we chased shadows, and now we have the monsters in custody. He praises the international cooperation, noting how tips from the 2003 attempt linked back to old files. French authorities echo this, with one officer stating, "The Ardennes hid their secrets well, but justice has a long memory." From a psychological lens, Élodie's case reveals a deadly synergy between predator and enabler. Victor Moreau is a classic psychopath. No empathy, no remorse, only a hunger for control and domination. Experts testify that he targeted Élodie for her purity, seeing her as a symbol in his warped fantasies of power, influenced by a traumatic childhood marked by abuse. He methodically planned the abduction, using Sylvie's maternal facade to gain trust. Sylvie Laurent, diagnosed with borderline personality disorder and traits of narcissism, wasn't coerced into participation. She actively lured Élodie, approaching her at the Christmas market with her son as bait, offering sweets and a promise of holiday fun. She stood by as Victor assaulted and strangled the girl in their van, later helping dispose of the body. Psychologists argue her involvement stemmed from a toxic dependency on Victor. Blended with her own sadistic tendencies, she derived a sense of control from enabling his crimes, viewing victims as threats to their family. At their 2008 trial in Charleville-Mézières, France, the courtroom is packed with victims' families, media, and experts. Prosecutor Francis Nakber delivers a scathing summation. This is not a story of one man's evil. It's a partnership in hell. Victor Moreau is the architect of death, but Sylvie Laurent held the door open, inviting innocence to its doom. She is no victim. She is a Machiavellian who betrayed her gender and humanity. He details the couple's hunting expeditions, where they drove for hours scouting vulnerable girls, and plays Sylvie's taped confessions, her voice emotionless, as she describes Élodie's final pleas. Defense attorneys argue coercion for Sylvie, painting her as manipulated, but the jury rejects it. Victor is sentenced to life without parole, his smirk in court earning him the nickname, the Ogre of the Ardennes. Sylvie receives life with a chance of parole after 28 years, but in 2023, amid public outcry and new evidence of her deeper involvement in other murders, she faces trial again in Belgium for additional charges. Experts, including forensic psychiatrist Paul Bensussin, testify. Sylvie is a willing partner, not a pawn. Her intelligence made her complicit. She could have stopped it at any time. She remains imprisoned, her parole bids denied, as appeals continue. Élodie's story is a warning etched in tragedy. Evil doesn't always have horns or a tail. It can be a mother holding her child, offering a kind word, or a ranger with a friendly smile guiding you through the woods. Her case inspires reforms. Enhanced DNA databases, better cross-border policing, and awareness campaigns like Belgium's Safe Holidays initiative. Marianne, though forever scarred, finds purpose in advocacy, speaking at schools. Teach your children to trust their instincts. One moment of caution can save a life. If you're listening, be wary of strangers, even those who seem like angels. Remember Élodie, not just as a victim, but as a reminder that vigilance is the shield against the darkness that lurks in plain sight.